Hey, movie nuts out there, Matt Jumbo back with another episode of Total Running Time, your weekly, in this case, multiple times a week, podcast on movie reviews, breakdowns, and I'd like to thank you guys for coming back in. I'm kind of like, I'm catching up on lost time this week, I admit. I know that... I usually do Monday, Friday, and as I explained in the last episode with No Strings Attached, that I'm doing No Strings Attached, Mechanic, and Unknown. So this was for Mechanic. So so the Mechanic, it's directed by Simon West. It was written by Louis John Colorino and Richard Wenk. It stars Jason Statham, Ben Foster, Donald Sutherland, Tony Goldwyn. It's a remake, well, it's a supposed remake of the old 1972 film by Charles Bronson, or with Charles Bronson. Although I think it's like, it shares similar tones, but that Charles Bronson film was rated PG and is on Netflix instant streaming. So I recommend you guys watch it. And so this one's like a hardcore rated R. But yeah, Simon West, keep in mind, this guy directed Con Air and Tomb Raider, so he can do action, you know what I mean? Like, and I was down because I'm a big Statham nut. Like, I love Lock, Stock, I love Snatch. The Transporter series is a lot of fun. Hell, I even went and saw In the Name of the King. So, I mean, I just saying, like, I like Statham, and I like Foster, too. Foster's been great, you know. The Hostage was fantastic. Alpha Dog was great, and he plays those really intense roles. But then also, when he was in that teen comedy with Kirsten Dunst, was it Get Over It? And he was in that one. It's like the guy he can act. He was pretty good. So you got to let him just do his thing. And I think that he can do, so it was Get Over It. I just looked it up. It was Get Over It. And also Big Trouble, he was great. And I totally forgot to mention, he's in like The Punisher. You know, he was great as Specker Dave and The Punisher. I'm kind of like, I think I have like a man crush on Ben Foster. I just really like the guy. Like him and Statham, I was like, this movie's going to exude testosterone. So I went to go see it like when it first came out. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. The budget was $40 million. It grossed $39.768 million. So it's almost profitable. And I'm pretty sure the DVD sales, it will be great. It's distributed by CBS Films, who did Faster. I don't know if you guys have seen Faster and whatnot. Okay, so we're gonna get into it real quick. We're gonna plow through it, and I'll give you guys my review of it when it's over. Keep in mind, this does have massive spoilers, so if you don't care, then you guys can just blaze on through. If not, you can go see it, or I don't know if you're tech savvy. I just read that a copy of it got leaked online. Not that I'm promoting piracy. I'm merely pointing out that it exists. And for those of you out there who choose to do it, well, there you go. But I do recommend actually seeing this. So, okay. So here we go. We're talking about the movie in 3, 2, 1. The film opens with following a man, and as his plane lands at a private hangar, and he makes his way to the mansion with his armed guard escort. The man changes into his swimwear and proceeds to get into his private pool while armed guards watch. As he swims, he notices his watch at the bottom of the pool and swims down to retrieve it. An unknown man grabs the swimming victim and holds him under until he dies. The assassin, Arthur Bishop, then uses the chaos that follows to take a careful route out of the mansion to a nearby river where he jumps and makes his escape. Back home, Bishop meets with Harry McKenna, whom Bishop regards as a friend and a mentor figure. Harry pays Bishop for his work in Colombia and discusses Harry's son Steve before parting ways. Returning to his house, Bishop checks for his new contract, only to find that the new contract is to kill Harry. Bishop phones his employer to verify that the contract is correct, and upon confirmation, he requests a face-to-face meeting. Bishop then meets with Dean, who tells him about a failed mission in South Africa, in which assassins of the agency Bishop worked for were killed. Dean tells Bishop that the only two people who knew about the mission were Dean and Harry, and that Harry had received money in exchange for the contract details. Bishop reluctantly kills Harry and makes it look like a carjacking. At Harry's grave, Bishop meets Harry's son Steve. Steve tells Bishop that he's going to go out and find any carjacker and kill them as revenge. Bishop secretly follows Steve and interrupts him from killing a carjacker that he had run into. Bishop recognizes the raw potential of Steve and decides to train him as a mechanic. He adopts a Chihuahua and instructs Steve to take the dog with him to a coffee shop each day at the same time. As Steve settles into his routine, Bishop escalates his training by taking him on a contract to show him what it's like. After Bishop strangles the man with the belt and stages it to look like autoerotic asphyxiation, he shows Steve all the planning that went into that assassination. Bishop informs Steve that he has a contact of his own, The target is a mechanic for another agency named Burke, who frequents the same coffee shop Steve has been going to. Furthermore, Steve is told that Burke's only weaknesses are that he's interested in young men and small dogs, such as a Chihuahua they adopted. Burke makes his move on Steve and invites him out to drinks. Bishop instructs Steve to slip a large dose of Hypnol into Burke's drink to cause an overdose. Steve ignores this direction and instead goes with Burke to his apartment. After Burke begins to undress, Steve attempts to strangle him with his belt, as he had seen Bishop do. They engage in a struggle, and Steve manages to kill Burke after much effort. Bishop is later contacted by Dean, who expresses his disapproval of Bishop's use of Steve for the Burke contract. Bishop replies that he was given a contract through Harry and not Dean. Angry at his indignation, Dean informs Bishop that he is on a short leash. Bishop is given a new contract to kill Andrew Vaughn, the leader of a cult-like church. Steve and him plan to inject Vaughn with adrenaline to simulate a heart attack. As Bishop and Steve wait in the walls of Vaughn's hotel room, the doctor arrives and sets Vaughn up with an IV of ketamine. Realizing that the adrenaline overdose would be inhibited by the ketamine, they improvise and quickly suffocate him. When Vaughn is discovered by his guards, Bishop and Steve are found hiding in the walls of the hotel and are forced into a shootout with the guards. As the building is being evacuated, Bishop and Steve slip out and Bishop decides they should fly home separately. At the airport, Bishop sees one of the men he was told killed in on the South African mission that Harry had allegedly sold out. During a confrontation with the man, Bishop realizes that his boss, Dean, had tricked him into killing Harry, and that it had been Dean who engineered the failed South African mission to cover up his own shady dealings. Having been misled, Bishop begins to get things in order, only to be ambushed by a group of mechanics. After taking them out, he uses one of their phones and discovers that Dean was behind the hit. Racing home, Bishop calls Steve, only to find that Steve had also been ambushed at the house. Bishop directs Steve to a hidden gun, which he uses to kill his ambushers. Steve is waiting for directions when Bishop arrives. When Bishop and Steve gather supplies for their new mission, while Bishop prepares to find how to get Dean. In the process, Steve finds his father's gun and realizes that Bishop had killed his father and not carjackers. On their way to Dean, Bishop sees the handle of Harry's gun in Steve's jacket and realizes that Steve has discovered the truth. After working together to kill Dean, they decide that it's time to part company and stop at a gas station. Steve gets out to put gas in the car and adjusts the nozzle so that it's pouring on the ground instead of in the tank. Steve pulls out Harry's gun and shoots the gas, blowing up Bishop's vehicle in the gas station. Steve then returns to Bishop's house and plays a record on the turntable before going out to the garage and taking the vintage 1966 Jaguar E-Type coupe that Bishop had been working on. As he's driving off, Steve notices a note on the seat of the car which reads, "Steve, if you're reading this, then you're dead." Steve laughs, and a moment later the car explodes, killing him. At the same time, the record player has finished at Bishop's house and activates a tripwire which causes Bishop's house to also explode. Back at the gas station, a security video reveals that Bishop escaped from his truck moments before Steve blew it up, saving him. Bishop gets in another truck he had by the beach and drives away. And that's the end. It was a fun film. You know, it's kind of like, this is actually really more in-depth plot than I figured, me reading this stuff off to you. It was fun. It's a good violence, good action, good chemistry between Statham and Foster. Kind of like a Leon thing, not as like, pedophilic, however you want to call it, but definitely fun. The action, it was well shot, it was all put together. I kind of wanted, like, the whole thing is, like, when they kill Dean, they both open fire on him with, like, automatic guns from, like, a foot away. So there was no spray back, and there was, like, they didn't show the body getting shot up, which would have been cool. But, it's kind of how it is. Statham kind of, like, he plays his usual straight man, his tough guy persona, and he wasn't as emotional. I think, like, there was a scene when, after Steve realizes that Bishop had killed his dad, and he asks him, "Do you ever regret anyone you kill?" And then he's just like, "No," which I think is what caused him to kill, what caused, Steve to go kill him, because I think he was looking at, like, Bishop like a brother or father figure. And then before they get out of the truck at the gas station, Bishop looks at Steve and says, "I'm sorry," but it doesn't say for what, but you get what he's implying. And then I was actually kind of surprised that he killed him. I wasn't expecting that. That they were trying to kill each other. I was hoping that they would have, like, teamed up and gone after more bad guys, so we could have gotten a sequel. But hey, it happens. So yeah, enjoyable film, fun, good. It's a good guy film. I saw it with my buddy. Enjoyed it, and I recommend. you guys check it out if you guys like that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna end this review. Thank you very much for listening. Tune in to facebook.com/2bucktheater for the daily movie news and reviews and information that I like to do for fun. And stay tuned for Unknown, and tune in Friday for Indiana Jones. And we'll see you guys later on the show. Thank you again. I'm Matt Jarbo. Bye. Jarbo. Bye.